there's always a quote around like time healing all wounds and stuff like that, which I don't know if that's true. I feel like it leaves the worst scar, the time.
Yeah, I don't like that saying either.
Okay, that's because I thought I was kind of like the only person who thought like that might not be. Mm-hmm. That doesn't sound right.
You are crazy. I ain't been this high on Perkins in a long time. I ain't been this high on Perkins in a long time. I took 2 30s and a half of a third one. I feel like I can see everything with my third eye. Feel like I'm floating, see the world from a bird's eye view.
Did I tell you about the reel that I had that went viral?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was crazy.
At 23 million views.
Oh my god.
I know.
It's insane.
And I had, like, before I started, I had 176 followers on Instagram. Mm-hmm. I'm at 3,125.
Oh my god. Is that
all because I put text on a video?
Right. Yeah, I don't think my podcast clips could do that because I don't know, it's not the same type of content. Mm-hmm. But like, is that a good thing for you? Do you like having all the followers? And
well, now there's pressure.
Yeah, everything.
Now I feel like I have to be funny all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the really cool things was, and I'm still seeing it now, but because I had to turn off all my notifications on Instagram because my Instagram just blew up. Mm-hmm. But I would see once in a while, I'll see some comments when I go into my account, and some of them are in other languages, which I thought was really cool. So it's literally gone the whole way around.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. And it apparently is very relatable to women everywhere to wake up with crazy hair if you go to bed with wet hair. So, yeah, it cracks me up that it cracked that many people up. But I just thought it was funny, and that's why I wanted to post it.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, though, because like that is more like you actually did create that. It's not like just like a repost, because you did make the meme.
It feels like cheating to me because, I mean, I get it. I get that that's the concept. And I get that I came up with the text that went on it, but I did tag the man who is like the photographer and the videographer.
That's cool.
But yeah, I was just not expecting that kind of response. But it's been fun.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never gotten more than like 1,000 views on YouTube, and that was only one time. And on other things, like not YouTube, like it's on Spotify, I get nothing.
Really?
Absolutely. Like I have like 20 plays overall. So
yeah,
because I think I honestly agree that audio podcasts are not as interesting. Okay. Like I rather watch it.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Yeah, much rather watch it. Like I tried it in the car one time on Spotify. It wasn't mine, but like someone else's podcast, and I was like, this isn't the same.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know there's something about seeing the people.
Right.
And their body language and
it grabs your attention more.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. But actually first I'm going to get into our first question. This one actually, I really like this one. What is your largest anxiety source right now? Because I was like, that's a good one. I could ask myself that easily.
Yeah. Right now, because I moved in with Mom, your grandma, I think the anxiety is not everything having its place right now. And so I have things that are in a lot of different places. I still have a ton of stuff that's in the basement that I haven't needed yet, but it's not having a place for those things to go to be organized. And so when I'm like, crap, where is that thing? Where did I put that? And then sometimes I have to go down and dig for it. And that is just not having everything settled. That bothers me right now.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of have the same thing where like I'm not usually changing much about my life, but like when I do, it's like, oh, I don't know.
So it reminds me of how much that I appreciate routine, and even though it may be a mess when it is in the places that they're supposed to be, it's still my mess. And so even like I know where my chaos is, but when it's all boxed up and put into a tiny room in the basement, it's tough to sometimes even remember what you have. And then that takes me into, well, then did you really need it? You know, like if you're not remembering what it is, then is it really necessary?
Right.
So, yeah.
I remember in the past I was so hard. I was so like I never got rid of stuff, and I was always like, yeah, but you know, what if I made this? Like, what if, you know, I feel bad that I'm getting rid of it or something. But I've gotten better with that now. But like, yeah, I think now I'm definitely more like I want things to be cleaner. But I can easily slip back into my old roots of just not caring at all.
Yes. Yeah.
Is I don't care about many things, and that's kind of a problem.
Okay.
Like I care about important stuff, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like the small things, like, oh, if is it clean in my room? I just don't. It's not a core value of mine. So it kind of gets annoying when other people, you know, get on my case.
That is the beauty of when you finally are able to live on your own, and all you need to worry about is you, and there's no one there to worry about anybody else's energy, anyone else's like expectations of you, and there is some amazing freedom that comes with that.
Right.
Yeah.
I do like that, but I feel like I actually do need that
Like the accountability piece of it?
No, because I think what I've improved right now with life, which is being organized, was pretty much all myself. I wasn't held accountable for it. So, but I think overall I do need that. Like I actually enjoy it now. Like having a, you know, a time I actually having an alarm in the morning, because I obviously, since I haven't had a job for a while, I don't need to get up at a certain time, but it feels good to actually get up at a certain time.
Yeah.
You know?
I think sometimes, well, not sometimes, but I think there is value in creating self-discipline for that purpose.
Yes.
To give you purpose.
Exactly.
And you are the only one that can do that for you. And
Exactly.
so whether it's an alarm or whether it is getting up and making your bed in the morning, because that is a structure that you want to have in place, but being able to establish those disciplines for yourself. For me right now in this phase of life, it's making sure that I do meal prep for the week, because if I don't do that, then I won't eat and I won't make good choices,
Right.
or I'll make choices on the fly. And so eating is very much a huge component to fitness and all of those
Yeah.
things that go together. So that's one of the things that I make sure that even though I don't want to on a regular basis, I still do it because I have to. I have to for me.
Yeah. Yeah, but with that stuff, especially with the food, like I definitely need to do the same thing, because I'll just eat whatever, you know. What and like, also kind of as a whole other topic with like our family, the whole food thing, you know, like, because I definitely have been eating more junk food in the past couple of years, which I almost see it as like good and bad, because good in the way that I don't care at all anymore, but bad that like, okay, well, I am getting gas station food like most days, because I just love going to the gas station. Like that feeling of getting a drink from the gas station is just, I don't know.
What is it about the drink?
I think the thing I like the most is the cups, like the fountain.
Okay.
The fact that you in that ice.
Yeah.
Something about it being in the cup.
So it's a tactile thing. So it's holding that particular cup. It's feeling the ice in the cup. Is it?
It's more the taste.
Yeah.
You know, it's the fact that I'm just going out of the house to get a soda. Like that's all I'm doing. Like I love just like on the drive, I'll have music on or something, or like I'll go to a farther gas station on purpose.
Yeah.
This sounds like I'm such a low life, but I'll drive 20 minutes to go. No, I don't do that, but
Yeah, but is it? So it's not even about the destination. It's about, like, is it about so much the drink? Or is it about
but
getting out
also
and
the
going?
drive, because I love driving, so I'll just drive around sometimes. But now I'm like, okay, I don't want to just have no destination. So I'll like, you know, okay, well, I guess I'll go to the gas station, you know, and just like kind of conjure up an excuse.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So family and food.
Yeah, I was trying to get turn it back onto you and
Yeah. So I was just talking to some people about this recently, just sharing histories and how did you come to those particular habits and those sorts of things. And we got on the topic of sugar. And that was always something that I was, ever since I was a wee one, like that was an addiction for me, if you can say that at a toddler age.
yeah.
But my mom would give me apple juice in a bottle after I had weaned off of milk. I would get apple juice, and I loved it. until the one day that she diluted it. And I could tell that she diluted it with water. And I was so pissed. And so she says that I threw my bottle down. And it was either like juice, like I said juice, or I said like, but I was pissed. I was like, no, you can't pull this on me. I know the difference. And that started a lifelong journey with sugar.
So where is it at now? Like, has it?
Oh, it's still very much a thing.
Yeah, I think I kind of have the same. I love sugar.
And so now I have to make conscious choices of, okay, if I need that sweet hit, essentially, choosing a healthier version of it versus just processed sugar, or, just trying to make better choices when it comes to sugar, which is not easy because I like it all.
I think overall the non-processed food is like pretty much a good way, a good compass.
Yeah.
But I love processed food.
I know. When I hit college age, that was when I was on my own, because I was in Clarion University. It was 4 hours away. It was far enough away that I could feel like I was away from home, but close enough that if I needed to, I could go home.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of, vending machines. And the cafeteria, Marcus, was the most amazing thing. It had everything, and you could go back as many times as you wanted. That was the best. And then they had desserts there too, which I did make sure that I ate lunch first. But, and then it was vending machines. It was like Pop-Tarts or Tasty Cakes or soda or, whatever I wanted at any time.
Right.
No one was looking over my shoulder, and So,
because I almost feel like that's how it is for me now. Because like I don't think my mom really looks over my shoulder necessarily. Like she'll comment on stuff, but like with the processed stuff, she's the one who buys it nowadays. So like I eat a lot of canned soup and mac and cheese and stuff like that. So which I know she doesn't think is good, which I don't think it's good either. But she's the one who buys it, so whatever. But
I will say, like, as much as my parents tried to curb me away from sugar, I do appreciate the fact that they raised us in a very healthy way, because I do feel like I have a stronger constitution. I do feel like I fight things a lot better than someone who wasn't raised that way.
Exactly.
Now, a lot of that can have to do with genetics, and that sort of thing, but I'm very grateful for how we were raised when it came to food.
Yeah,
and nutrition. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's it's a positive thing in that I just know more about it. Like I have a general knowledge of like what actually is healthy, because I feel like so many people, especially in America, they just genuinely don't know what's good for you.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I had that knowledge. Like also, even though it came with a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know. I don't want to see anxiety as like always a bad thing. I mean, it is a bad thing, but like I can work through it. And if I didn't have anxiety there, I would have had it in a different thing,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. So I still have a love for sugar, very much so.
Oh yeah.
Desserts are my thing.
Is caffeine also a big thing for you?
No.
Really?
No, it was at one time. Like when I first got out of college, and I had soda and beer all through college, and then after college, it was soda at work. Getting off of soda hurt, like the headaches every day. It was probably the most challenging removal of something from my diet. And then I would have coffee. When I, over the years, I would have coffee on a daily basis. But realized recently that I'm more of a tea person. So
I like tea too.
Black tea.
Me
and I
too.
like it the English style with cream and sugar, of course.
Yeah, me too.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I just find it so much more enjoyable than coffee. And I still like coffee. I like coffee on occasions, particularly with dessert.
Oh yeah,
Surprise,
that's very good.
But no, I don't really feel it, because I'll have like 1 cup of tea in the morning, and that's about it. Yeah. If I'm having a long day and I can feel like I'm dragging, I do try to hydrate more, but then sometimes I do resort to whether it's an energy drink or it's coffee. Yeah.
I feel like that's a lot of soda to be drinking if it's that hard to come off it. Because I know soda doesn't have as much caffeine as coffee does. It's like...
Yeah. I don't know the stats, but... and I think it was more the sugar that was the detox than it was the caffeine.
Yeah. So I was wondering that, yeah. So, like, what was, like, 2 or 3 a day, or?
I think I would have 2, and they were the can, like a can, size of a can. But yeah, it was probably more the sugar than the caffeine.
2 a day, like, obviously that's kind of bad, but it's not horrible. I don't know.
Yeah. But
it makes sense, though. Yeah, I've like, as a kid, I never liked caffeine. It just, like, kind of made me feel weird. But now I love it.
Yeah.
I don't drink it every day because I don't want to start the habit, because then it gets less fun. Because like it's literally like a mini drug.
Oh,
like I love the fact that I can drink this tasty thing and then feel it. I love that. Oh my god! Like I don't drink coffee every day, but I try to.
And when you do have it, like, do you have a favorite brand or a favorite, or do you go to the gas station and get coffee? Or...
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
They actually have pretty good coffee at our gas station. It's probably like so unhealthy, but it's just like it's a lot of creamer, a lot of sugar, which like I like the more black, and I like the super sugary, like with the icing and well, not icing, but what they put on top of them.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like I obviously like that because it's really sweet. Because I don't get why people say it's not coffee. It's like, well, yeah, it's not, but it's good. I fulfill the caffeine. I mean, what's the difference?
There's still caffeine in it, but it's not traditional coffee. No.
Yeah. But yeah, I think like coffee and tea too. I like that. Yeah, pretty much. And like I know how much is in each thing, each brand. Like I want to get my like the dose right. If I want to go high dose, I do like a Monster. Okay. Or like middle would be coffee, and then tea is like lower dose. Yeah. It's all a different experience, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a serious thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are you a coffee in as soon as you get up, or midday, and like? When do you prefer?
Usually like right in the morning.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's nice to wait, because then like for that first half of the morning, I'm just like, God damn, I needed something. I need to get a Monster or something. And then I get it, and then it's like, oh, I can like I can exist. You know? I love that, where it's like I don't feel it in my eyes anymore. My eyes are like just open and they're not tired. I love that.
Do you feel like you like get enough sleep at night?
Nowadays, I usually do, because I actually have a certain time I go to bed and wake up. But like for years before this, not really. I mean, I would stay up really late and then either sleep in, or if I couldn't sleep in, then I would lose sleep. But I feel like, I mean, I don't get like 9 hours every night, but I get, a decent amount every night.
Yeah.
Because sleep was also one of those things with, I feel like, our family with anxiety around it, which sleep, I don't have any anxiety about that anymore. I don't really care if I'm tired, because I'm used to the feeling of it, and I'll just get a coffee,
Yeah.
So is that the same thing with you, or like with the sleep? Was that an issue?
Yeah, it's a lot better now than it's ever been. Because even and your mom and I were just talking about naps. I forget how long ago it was, but we were talking about just being able to lay down and not stress yourself out over whether or not you're going to actually fall asleep.
Oh my god, yeah.
And just being able to lay and rest and quiet your mind and quiet your body and allow for rest. It doesn't need to be sleep. It can be eyes open, eyes closed, whatever it is, but as long as you feel like you are relaxed. Yeah. And that being able to allow for that has relieved a lot of anxiety around sleep. Because there's times when I won't sleep the whole, like I'll wake up. I always wake up in the middle at some point in the night, whether it's because of the cats or whether it's because I need to use the bathroom or whatever it is. And for a while, I would always have this. So if it was because I needed to go to the bathroom, I have this battle that I play, or this conversation that I have in my head. I lay there and I debate whether or not I actually need to get up to go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah, I did the same thing.
And so then I argue with myself over, well, do you really need to go, or could you just lay here? And so I end up arguing with myself longer than it would actually take for me to get up out of bed, go to the bathroom, come back to bed, and I would be fine. But I go through this whole thing in my head before I actually get up and go. And so now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, Sarah, just go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Just go and come back to bed. Everything's going to be fine. But that's the anxiety around the sleep part of it, is worrying about going back to sleep after you come back.
Okay. I never really had that problem with like the whole, like after I get up and come back, I can't fall asleep. I usually can fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it like kind of gets you out of the sleep mode, but that's more rare, I feel like, for me.
And to be honest, I don't know that it was ever an issue for me. I think it's just because it was an issue for Dad. Like for years, we heard about his sleep issues and how he struggled to go back to sleep. And so any noise, like we were very careful. And I don't want to paint this picture in a way that makes him seem like he was like adding anxiety.
Oh yeah, I have
to
the
us.
same.
But
thing
it was
with my...
like the littlest thing would wake him up in the middle of the night, and then he would tell us the next day about how much he struggled to go back to sleep. And so
It's so accurate.
and so hearing that, I think it just created something in our own minds as to, oh, that's a normal struggle. Like if we're like, that's just something that we're experiencing too, even though we weren't really experiencing that. And so that's taken me years to kind of realize, oh yeah, that was a Dad thing. That's not actually a thing that I have.
Right. I have the same issue with my parents. Yeah. Because I am a light sleeper. That's true. And it is hard to fall asleep for me, but not like I used to think it was. Like it's hard if I'm not in my own house. Like if I'm sleeping in a tent or something, or at my friend's house, I'm not gonna fall asleep.
Yeah.
You know, but at my own house, I don't really have problems falling. Like it takes like, you know, an hour laying there, but I don't care. Like it's not a problem.
Yeah.
So it was always kind of ingrained in my head to like, oh, I'm bad at sleep, and like, not really. I'm just not good at sleeping other places. Like I can't go on the couch and like sleep a whole night. I can nap on the couch, but I can't sleep at night. The couch is like one of the worst places. I don't know why. What is it about the couch that's so just not
But it's perfect for a nap.
Oh yeah, it's good for a nap.
Perfect for a nap.
Yeah.
But not for more than a nap.
Yeah.
How does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. But no, I think that's where more of it that it came from for me was the conditioning of it versus it actually being an experience.
Right.
So it's interesting how that happens. And some of those epiphanies that you have, that you're like, oh yeah. And I'm 45 and still having these epiphanies about childhood.
Oh yeah.
So
that makes
enjoy.
Sense. Yeah. And you know, it is cool because like it's not really their fault, because like if that wasn't the anxiety thing I grabbed as a young age, it would have been something different.
Yeah.
You know, so obviously I don't blame, you know, her for that, but
Sure.
yeah, it's just what happened to be the thing. And like I'm the same way, so I feel like my kids will probably inherit some sort of anxiety, whether what it is or not. You know,
it is just natural.
Yeah. Obviously, I hope I'm pretty far along in my journey of anxiety at that point, but like everybody has anxieties, you know, no matter how like calm you are.
Yeah, and I think just your awareness of it is how many steps ahead of the people that aren't even acknowledging or understanding their own anxieties. And so the fact that you do will help you know how to navigate that. That self-awareness is going to be key.
Yeah, for sure. I there was a question I would definitely want to get in. With the weed, I know that's kind of related to sleep in a way. What is your weed experience right now? Like, how often, what's the high like? What type of stuff you smoke, you know?
So I do have my medical card. I've had that for a number of years. It started because when I was getting a lot of the pain because of all of my jaw issues that I had. Yeah. And so I got my medical card because of that. And to be fair, I enjoy it. I enjoy the high. I enjoy the fact that it helps quiet my mind, because my mind races, or like those conversations in my head at night.
Yeah.
That's during the day too.
Yeah.
I have entire conversations in my head that didn't actually exist with people.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
You know, so, and when I had a very stressful job and I would come home, I would just analyze the whole day. So I would, you know, pick out different, whether it was an employee interaction, it was an interaction with one of my managers, if it was, I would replay it and think about all the ways it could have been better or different or what was successful about that particular interaction. So my brain just didn't stop.
Right.
Marijuana has helped in that regard in certain times. And so sometimes when I'm particularly wired, it does help bring me back down. Now it's more for pleasure because I don't have a lot of stress in my life. And once in a while I still will get some pain that I will use it for that, and it works well for that. But because I have my medical card right now, it is it's a vape pen. One of the cartridges with the battery.
Yeah.
And it's 2 hits and I'm good.
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
It all depends on how much you draw too, like how strongly you draw it.
Yeah.
But it's not to the point of like I'm fucked up. It's like it just eases the tension.
Yeah.
I can relax because I carry tension in my shoulders, and then if
me too.
I'm able to, then it just allows me to let them down, to just drop the shoulders, and then I can relax and I can be more present. And I know there's controversial opinions about it, and that's okay. I also know a lot about it, and I know that it doesn't have any addictive qualities compared to caffeine, for instance.
Right.
It's less addictive than caffeine, and it all depends on the person and their addictive nature and all of that
definitely,
stuff.
Definitely.
But I do know that there's a lot of ways that it can help people, particularly with pain. And I think that if there's a lot more people that could benefit from it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always like very I think what I usually see it as is the problem isn't the weed in general, it's the super high THC that's being sold right now.
Yeah.
And that's what really, like, I did not like that. Like that's pretty much the reason why I stopped, you know, because I had some pretty bad experiences with the strong stuff, and that's just so unnatural. It's not what weed's not supposed to be 90% THC.
Correct.
And it's just so bad for your brain, especially when you're like my age, and it's just
there's more to it than that. And when they hybridize it enough to bring out the strength of the THC, and it's, you know, I know that's for the people that just want to get stoned.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of benefits to the terpenes that are in marijuana. There's a lot of benefits there are benefits to the euphoria that people can get when they do get high, for, you know, anxieties and that sort of thing. And also, I think there's, and I am not well versed in this enough to be able to talk about it like really in detail, but like the pain mitigation, there's obviously going to be certain receptors that it hits that allows you to, for whatever reason, helps to lessen the feeling of the pain. So I know that there are benefits in that way.
Right, because I think it for sure can be a positive thing, because I've experienced it helping me and hurting me. So like when it was helping me, it would be the first couple times I tried it. It would be like 2 years ago now. That was like I was on acid. Like that was like, but it was good in a good way. Because I've also had it where I'm on acid in a bad way, not actual acid, but with the weed. But the first time, it was like I was completely in a dream.
Okay.
Have you ever had that experience where it's like, it was almost like there was a line here. If I look over here, I'm back in reality.
Ooh.
And if I look back at you, I'm in a dream. Like I'm asleep in my bed.
Wow.
This isn't happening. But it was cool because I could see life from an outside view, and that was really neat. I like solved a lot of mental issues with that, and it was just really cool to like see things from that point of view.
Have you ever tried to get back to that state being sober?
Well, it probably wouldn't be a good idea, because on the times that it was a bad experience, it was the dream thing, but I was like completely trapped in it. Like there was no exit to the dream.
Okay.
And that was like the first time that I took too much.
Yeah.
It was the strong stuff, and it was it was at my friend's house, and like as soon as it hit, I was like, okay, I'm just I'm actually pretty high, and then I was kind of like, there was a friend over here, and I was talking to him, and then as I'm looking at him, like, wait a minute, there's no escape. I'm completely in this dream. And now I'll have like flashbacks to that now, where I kind of get like, wait a minute, I don't know like where I am, or I'm kind of like, I'm just not here, and that's, I don't know, it's like, that's like my version of like a panic attack now.
Yeah.
Because it kind of changed something in my head, and I've heard of people who go insane because of the super strong weed. So that's why I stopped.
The only disclaimer that I will throw in is, I should know this. I'm your aunt. I should know how old you are. You're 18.
18.
You're 18.
Yeah.
I want to say you're 19. Your brain hasn't stopped developing yet.
Right.
Like you're not done until I think 26.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just something to be cautious of, because, bringing in those elements into your life and into your world and essentially into your DNA may change things. Mm-hmm. And so just to be careful about the situations that you've already experienced. Obviously you don't want to experience those again, but just being careful and being mindful as to what you allow yourself to partake in.
Oh, 100%. I actually haven't smoked in over a year now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate weed now. I don't hate it entirely, but like for myself, I hate it.
Yeah, and going back to the reason I asked about if you're able to kind of bring yourself back to that in a sober state, one of the things that I have appreciated is because it takes me to a place where my mind is more quiet, and I can appreciate things more in the present. So when it comes to music, or when it comes to just being in my body, or being... sometimes when I'm by myself and I just want to move, like it allows me to be able to get out of my own head, to be able to enjoy those things. And then because I was able to enjoy it, now I can go back and I know how to kind of tap into that feeling without needing.
Exactly. That's what I always would tell my friends. Like when I first started, when it was positive, that's what I always would say. It's like it teaches you how to be happy.
Yes.
So you don't have to be on it all the time.
Exactly.
And they never understood that, and they never, saw it that way. But then as I got older and started using it a little bit more often, and it was probably just the higher strains and stuff, then it got more like, okay, I'm getting high. Like I'm taking myself out of reality. And I feel like it almost takes me out of the moment.
Okay.
So I never understood why people said that. Like, well, at the end of the day, you're getting fucked up. Like you're kind of putting a veil, over your eyes. Because that really is what it feels like. Because as I smoked more, it got so much less fun, and like there obviously were times where it was just a bad high, but there also were times where it was just kind of like lame. Like it wasn't scary, but it was just like sad and just not fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. It changes with the way I saw it. Also with like how my friends. Like our whole culture around it, as we got more access to it, then it was more of like, okay, let's do this all the time.
Yeah.
Which I didn't ever do it that much, but that's what they were doing. So it wasn't the same like, oh yo, we had some weed, like that's what makes it fun. And it's like I have this experience I'm gonna do with like my friends. It's like a set day. I'm gonna have this trip, and then. And then I won't have it for another couple of weeks or something. But then it was like, okay, they're on it all the time, so that's not fun anymore. I'd much prefer alcohol, and they never liked alcohol, so I'm always like, guys, this is what we need to be doing.
So that's why I will go on breaks. Like I will take breaks from it, because I also know that you do build up tolerances, and then you need more to feel more. And so I do take breaks from time to time because it does help.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, you did mention alcohol.
Yeah, I'm a fan of alcohol.
I also enjoy it. However, I am long beyond the point where I was in college of just wanting to get fucked up, you know? And I don't miss hangovers at all.
Yeah, they suck.
At all. And now I just enjoy it for what it is, whether it's for the flavor or like the most that I have now is 2, because I don't want to get, because for me, alcohol makes me feel really cloudy.
It does that for me
Very
too.
foggy.
And like it's sometimes like I'll have a bad high, but sometimes I like the fogginess because I like to be taken out. But it's so much better if I'm taken out and I feel happy. But sometimes when it's bad, I'm taken out of reality and I just don't feel anything. I don't like being numb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to dive into the wanting to get out, because I know that
Yeah,
feeling.
absolutely. Yeah.
So can you think of a situation, I don't know, doesn't need to be recent, but a situation where you felt like you needed an escape from? Because I know you and I have talked about this before, so I kind of want to dive into that a little bit.
It's recently. It's been most of the anxiety is around the love in my life, like the more females and stuff like that.
Sure.
So that's usually like if I'm with her or, you know, something's on my mind, because that's usually what my anxiety targets. So like that's usually when I would much rather just be just so fucked up and not. I don't get blackout drunk. I hate that. I've never done that. But like I want to be like just in the sky. You know what I mean?
So help me understand your, like, what you experience with your anxiety, because it's different for everybody. So when you have those moments where you want to escape, what is it that you're feeling or that you don't want to feel, or is it a feeling?
I think it's the core feeling is like I can't stand losing that person, or that person being harmed by me in some way.
Okay.
Because that's what happened in my last relationship. Was obviously I lost her and she was hurt from what happened.
Sure.
And even before that, I already had so much fear around like loss of like relationships, because I view love and love in that way on the super high, you know, spot in life, which it shouldn't be that important. You know, it's not the most important thing in life, but I see it as the most important thing.
Okay.
Let me think. Yeah, I think it's very complicated, because it's like your anxiety is trying to convince you that you don't like them, because I think one of my core fears is that I'm not going to like them. You know, I'm not really afraid of them not liking me, but I'm actually more afraid of me not liking them, and like not feeling anything, like not, you know, the whole love connection, like not feeling that.
Okay.
What were you gonna say?
Is it because you're like you're concerned that if you don't like them, then you're going to hurt them? Is that breaking, very simply put? Obviously, there's a lot more to it, but is that it? Is that,
yeah? That's part of it, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else outside of worrying or concern that you will hurt that person if you don't have romantic feelings towards them? Is there anything else besides the fear of bringing them pain?
I think it's the fact that I can wonder if I don't like them. Like I don't want to even have that possibility. It could, because if I have that much anxiety about something, it's because I value that thing a lot. Mm-hmm. So like I value my love for them. Sure. So, that's what it targets, and it tries to tell me that I don't like them. So it's just lack of feeling. Yeah. Like I'm afraid of the lack of the love. Okay. I guess it's very complicated. Yeah.
No, what you're describing it well. I get what you're saying. And I understand the fear of hurting somebody, because I know that feeling.
That takes a toll.
It's tough.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also very much a part of life.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you feel like the sense of loss comes from something else?
I think it
Or
was.
like the fear of loss?
I think it's probably from my mom.
Yeah.
From like, cause I think she always has fear of like, of loss in a bunch of different ways. Cause like loss can go into so many different anxieties. Because the one anxiety thing I have is always cracking my joints. I gotta do it over and over and over. And I notice that it acts up more when I'm having a good time, because I'm afraid of losing that good time, of that like that fun experience. And my mom definitely has that same thing, where she's so afraid of losing that fun day or that fun moment, you know?
So is it like a self-sabotage?
It can turn into that, yeah. It not usually, but like
So like it's going so
it
well,
can go there.
you don't want to lose it, but yet you're scared you're going to lose it, so you kind of get yourself into the anxiety loop of just those thought processes going around and around, and yet because you're doing that, you're missing out on what you're actually experiencing.
Yes, basically. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little bit of self-sabotage, which I can understand.
And there is more to my anxiety and like what it is. Like it's not just anxiety. Like there's something in my brain is wrong, and it keeps it doesn't know how to like to not know what not be sure what's going to happen in a way. And it's hard to explain this when I have a speech impediment, because I can't say certain things. So that's why I'm getting around words.
Yeah.
But I think like I have a disorder, and you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So it's different than just having anxiety. Like it doesn't work right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to change the language around. You said there's something wrong, because there is no normal anymore. So rather than saying there is something wrong, we can say there is something different.
Yeah, I mean, the process of getting, through it is also like being okay with it as a part of you. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is malfunction, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you seem to do a good job of embracing it and understanding it, and talking to who you need to talk to deal with it, all of the things to make sure that you're handling it, that you're not allowing it to handle you.
Yeah. I wasn't doing well with it for like months before this, but now I'm actually like in the last couple of weeks I've been doing pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you think changed? Like, what do you think in the last few weeks, what's the different factor there?
I think like talking to a therapist and like her actually giving me more direct instructions of what to do.
Yeah.
So that definitely helped. And I
Good.
I don't know. I go through phases of like really working against it and like, okay, let's really get this done. Let's really like achieve goals and stuff. And then I kind of fall off that, and then I get back on again. So I don't want to say that this is just like an up part, and I'm gonna crash eventually. But yeah, I'm just in a pretty good, I don't know, it's not a good place, but like a pretty, I'm going up,
Yeah.
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 And also being able to take steps back and realize that you are still growing and you are still developing.
Right.
And so things will change. They will continue to change. And
Oh,
then
yeah,
the more that
definitely.
you learn about life and the more that you learn about how to handle those things. And, it is going to be a constant process of continuous improvement that will have the dips, and then you'll come back up, and then you'll have another dip, and then you'll come back up. Like, you're going to go through that.
Yeah. And that actually sparks another question I think now I'm realizing I want to touch on is like, what is the worst pain that you felt in the love category? Because that's like very interesting for me,
Yeah.
especially right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's two. So one is obviously losing dad.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And that's a parental love.
Right.
Yes.
I'm talking more like
You mean romantic
like a partner.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still work. That's still a good topic.
Yeah.
But
Because love is, in all its forms can be heartbreaking.
oh yeah, 100%.
But the divorce, that was the hardest. That was the hardest thing.
Oh yeah. I
And
believe it.
analyzing it in all the good, bad, and the ugly. And, you know, I know you and I have just talked. I love these conversations, by the way. Absolutely love them. When I worked with the relationship and intimacy coach, her name is Kylie. I had met her through Instagram. I'd started following her because I saw her poetry, and so I was really drawn to her poetry. And then somehow we got connected, and I started working with her, and it was taking radical responsibility for my role in that relationship and all relationships going forward. But the hardest thing for me, I think, with my ex-husband was coming to terms with me having expectations for something that was never going to happen. Like having an expectation of what that relationship was like in my head, but I'd also built it up in my head to be something without having the conversation with him as to this is what I expect.
Yeah.
You know, so I was holding a standard up here without communicating that standard or knowing how to communicate that standard and being able to know if growing together was a possibility.
Yeah.
And I did realize at some point that I knew that we weren't going to grow in the same directions.
Right.
And that was really hard to come to terms with, of letting go of something that you put all of your hopes and dreams into.
Yeah. Because I know that my story is like so not the same, you know, value as not value. Definitely not value.
Don't take that. Yeah.
But it's very different. Divorce is so different from a 4-month relationship with, you know, in high school.
Yeah.
But like that whole thing of like, it's the loss of the life that you thought you were going to have.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a mourning period with that. Just like it's grief in you're going to have grief regardless of what the loss is.
Yeah.
And allowing for that grief. And there's still times, you know, I'll think about a different aspect of it, or there was still a loss, even though I'd come to terms with all of it. And even though I'm grateful for where I'm at now, and I know that I made the right decision, it still hurts.
Yeah.
You know?
100%. Like, cause there's always a quote around like time healing all wounds and stuff like that, which I don't know if that's true. I feel like it leaves the worst scar, the time.
Yeah, I don't like that saying either.
Okay, that's because I thought I was kind of like the only person who thought like that might not be. Mm-hmm. That doesn't sound right, because yes, the pain lessens, but it also changes.
Yes.
Like I don't feel as much pain now because I have a new girlfriend, but like I don't have the pain of like that just broke up, like that just in your chest,
like the open wound.
Yeah, that's definitely that was gone in the first 3 months, you know. But now, or like at least in the last couple months, it's like almost a worse pain where it's like, wow, I haven't seen it in 2 years, and it's that kind of like, wow, it's been 2 years. Like that hurts more than when it's like when it was fresh.
Yeah,
you know,
it's different
because it's like that person was such a huge part of my life, and I was in love with this person, and now they're gone. I haven't seen them in 2 years, and that's like, whoa.
Yeah,
it's weird, like what, you know, a broken heart does, and it just like shrivels you up, your soul, you know. And I'm finally starting to come out the other side of it. I thought I was in other times too. Like I thought I was coming out of it, and I was out of it for like 3 months. You know, I forget exactly when it was in the past year, but then things went downhill again, and then with all the extra anxiety around the new relationship, and then that was just, it was, yeah. But
yeah,
Yeah, it's weird. Like that heartbreak feeling is like definitely a important part of life to experience, but it doesn't feel like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do it like I'm grateful for it in so many ways because of how much I learned. There's a ton of thoughts up in my head, and so I'll try to get them all out. But so I'm grateful for what I learned. I'm grateful for the experience. I would not change it. There were some parts of it that were just the hardest thing that I've ever gone through, and there were some that were just some of the best parts that I've gone through in life. And now looking back, after having gone through all of the work that I have done for myself and the growth, and I feel like I'm a completely different person now. And looking back is almost weird. Like,
Yeah, it is weird.
Looking back, and I'm like, I don't know who that is anymore.
Damn.
And so
Yeah.
it feels so foreign, and it feels even farther back than what it actually is. So
Right.
rather than it being 2.5 years ago, it feels like 10. Like, it's just the weirdest.
That's wild.
The weirdest thing.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to like the time heals all wounds bullshit, I think from what I've heard, when it comes to grief, and I see it more with the loss of dad, but the pain does not get easier. It just changes.
It just changes,
It's just different. It hits different. It morphs into something bigger and yet not as intense, but it's still very much all encompassing. It's so hard to
Right.
describe.
And it is hard to like see the light in that, you know, like being the fact, because I never lost, you know, a person in my family, because that's a whole different type of love, and you know that's definitely worse, I would say.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? Yeah, it is hard to see the light when the pain doesn't really go away; it just changes, and it's like, well, I don't know. It just like will I ever be like as healed as I was before? As like, you know, or don't have any problems, like, you know.
Yeah.
It's weird to say it that way.
I think it's safe to say that you'll never be the version of yourself that you were when you went through that. You'll
Yeah.
never be that version of yourself again.
True.
And so there is honor in looking back and acknowledging that person and who you were and what you went through and how you handled it. And, you know, but after everything you've learned, you're never going to be able to go back to that same version of yourself because you've now developed and you're now moving on
Right.
and you're now bigger and you're
Yeah.
and more aware and all of the things that come with growth.
Because I do question sometimes, like, was that the real me? And I'm not the real me now, you know?
Oh, it's
Which-
just a different version.
Right, because I think that this is the real me, you know, but that also was.
Yes.
It's just like
Yes.
there are kind of multiple yous
Yes.
at different ages.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very much so.
so it's strange.
And I think with romantic love, well, same with grief, but you always, like in all of the relationships I've had, and you've seen all of them, you carry that person with you. Like there's always a piece of that person with you.
Yeah,
And that's where in my opinion, your capacity for love gets bigger. Because yes, you were hurt, but if you take the time to heal and you take the time to learn and you take the time to grow from what you've learned, the capacity to love just opens up even bigger. But yet at the same time, it's bigger and you're also carrying all of those pieces with you.
yeah.
So it makes, in some ways, it makes it tougher to open back up again and to allow yourself
yeah.
to love.
Yeah.
And you become so much better at discerning what's a good match for you and what makes sense for you and what are you looking for and what don't you want. And, you know, all of those things, it does make it easier to make better choices. but it doesn't make it easier. I think it just makes you braver. You get more brave to love again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, hasn't really. I feel like I'm the one who had to make myself more brave, because it took the bravery away. For sure. I could tell I was putting up so many walls without even knowing it, and like just really wanting to like push away.
Yep. Because it's so much easier to do that than it is to face yourself.
That's why I love the drugs life, which I never actually did drugs like that.
Yeah.
But I fantasize about them like that. I love the fantasies about drugs. Like, it's like there's something about it. I don't know what it is. I love it. But I've gotten away from that more now, just in the past couple of weeks. Just like trying to, like, no, I don't want to be there. I want to be here. I want to, like, take on the anxiety, take on the not feeling comfortable, and like that's what's going to make you feel better.
Yeah.
And it does in the long run. It's hard to see that when the kind of personality type I am is just wants to be like out there all the time, and like drugs, it's not just drugs all the time, but like drugs and just being in my imagination. I love that perfect world. I love that.
Yeah.
But trying to get more away from that while incorporating creativity into reality, because creativity is meant to be in reality. That's the whole point of being an artist, is bringing your idea into reality.
Exactly.
And I have to get used to that, because I'm not used to that. I'm more used to it being just all in my head, and like, Yeah, we actually do have to wrap it up, because my camera, being wonderful, it will overheat after an hour, and we're almost at an hour. So, yeah, it's a great camera.
That was a really fast hour.
Yeah, it was really good too.
Wow,
that was a very good episode. They aren't usually. I felt really like, obviously I'm never like that comfortable, but like I felt I wasn't like acknowledging the fact that I was being like on air. It was really nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was a really good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you asked. And I just, again, I love the fact that you have these conversations with your friends, your family, people that you want to have conversations. Like, I love that you dig in. I love the questions that you pose. I think just being able to have these conversations is very good for your own growth, good for the guests that you have to pose these questions in their minds. And there's things that I'm going to reflect on after the fact, And so I think it's really fantastic that you're doing this, and I'm proud of you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Wait, were you gonna say something?
No, you're all grown up now.
I know, it's weird. It's weird.
I love it, and it's also, I remember holding you as a baby. So anyway, I know the cameras. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh no, it's not done yet. But
yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. The whole thing: YouTube, Spotify, Instagram. Subscribe, follow all the YouTuber stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything else to say to the viewers? Yeah.
No, just thank you for having me.
Absolutely, yeah. It was awesome to have you on. I always wanted to have you on, because I knew it'd be good, and it was awesome.
Looking forward to the next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's possible.
Okay.
All right. I'll see ya. Peace.
I don't like you, why you always trying to follow me? I'm your king, I'm your love, I'm your diamond piece. Take this emotion that just found its way inside of me. Since a kid, I've been searching for the truth in me. I'm a bumblebee, I'm a bumblebee. Follow my path to say